Equally as important as the shows we watched growing up were the programming blocks that would set the mood for the moments in between these shows and the commercials that for some reason we can still recite perfectly decades later. While there are many iconic blocks of content for different times of the day, different channels, as well as different age levels, today I wanted to focus on one in particular, Nickelodeon's You Pick Live. So my goal today is to revisit this era with you all, re-experience a normal You Pick Live programming block and learn about what made this block so memorable and how it all came to be. If you enjoy the video, you better subscribe as we're going to travel back in time to the early 2000s.
We'll take it from here.
We've got 2 amazing hours of picking in store for you guys today.
Get him in here. Give him a wedgie. Give this guy a wedgie.
All right, pick boy.
So, programming blocks, we all know them, heck, we love so many of them dearly. Some we remember fondly and have lasted for a long time, and others live on as this tiny little member berry that once you eat it, boom, you are hit with the most intense wave of nostalgia you've ever had. It really just brings you back. I've been feeling really nostalgic lately. Well, when am I not? I have 2 channels dedicated to why I was bullied. I mean to the really cool things that made me so cool for liking them. Regardless, one thing I have been finding enjoyment in revisiting is older programming blocks from my childhood that I truly miss. While there are plenty more that I would like to cover here on the channel throughout the year, today we're going to take a look at one of my favorites and personally one of my most memorable, You Pick Live, a programming block for Nickelodeon that ran from October 14th, 2002 until May 27th, 2005. For over 400 episodes, this show between shows would run every single day of the week, except for these 2, and would start at 5 p.m. Eastern and end after 2 hours at 7 p.m. Eastern. It had this fully unique vibe as the show itself would be handled and broadcast from the Nickelodeon headquarters in New York City, with the show being full of fun bits, gags, segments, and the occasional musical guest performance. The whole point of the program was to give you, the audience watching, the power to control the television, kind of. It allowed you to go online and vote for the shows you'd want to see aired during that specific time block. It just made you feel like you were in control of the network. Just picture little 8-year-old me. I just got back home from school. I'd go on and use the family computer, click on my favorite shows, and not too long later, I would turn on Nickelodeon to see if what I had chosen would actually show up on TV. Listen, before you make fun of me, this was before DVRs and on-demand whatever. If there were things like that or stuff like TiVo, we couldn't afford it. And plus, the TiVo mascot is the scariest thing I ever saw as a single-digit-aged Earthling. Also, who knows if my vote really mattered or if it would truly affect today's shows or tomorrow's shows, but the illusion of choice was there, and that was cool to me, because my only other choice at the time I really could make was, do I want pink milk or chocolate milk? Yes, I call it pink milk. No, I don't care if you hate that I call it that. I will not be bullied about this anymore. But You Pick technically wasn't a brand new concept, but it did offer a bunch of new things, so let's dive into what you'd see in a typical episode of the program and learn about the first You Pick programming block that inspired this one.
Well, I didn't even get to the chorus.
Forget about it, pick boy. Let's pick someone else. Thanks, Gomes. Thank you very much.
All right, we'll be right back with the SpongeBob shout-out.
Spread the word. We're coming to You Pick this Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, we can't wait to hang out with you guys.
So yeah, before we get to You Pick Live, we have to give credit to another Nickelodeon programming block that came before it, You Pick Friday, which was basically the same concept at its core. Viewers could vote on what they'd want to watch during the program block, which would air on Fridays from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern. But what made it stand out on its own was the fact that the hosts of the show were the cartoon hosts with the mosts. There's too many S's there. Henry and June, who were famously the faces of Kablam, another Nickelodeon show that featured segmented one-off or ongoing bits, and if you want to learn more, there's a whole video for that here on my channel. While the programming block only lasted from November of 1999 to October of 2000, it did eventually lead us into You Pick Live, only for it to carry on the branding and deliver it to us in a new way. But if you really want to get a little bit technical here, You Pick Live and You Pick Friday wouldn't be here without the original Nickelodeon Nickelodeon programming block that was hosted by a literal popsicle stick. Everything I just said there was true. Nick in the Afternoon, a 4-year-long summer-based block that featured a segment called You Pick, where, yeah, you, the viewers, would pick the show that you wanted to watch. But there was also You Dip, where you, the viewer, got to publicly torture Stickly in various liquids. We, as a society, have problems. But now that we've paid our respects to what has come before, let's check out You Pick Live. Of course, we have our two main hosts of the program, Brent Popolizio and Candace Bailey. Brent and Candace were your average quirked up live show hosts that always have a high energy personality and stare directly into the camera, just waiting for the show to be over for the day and the endless despair of being fake happy washes away. Whew, they promise that's not projection. For real though, those two do a good job to present a fun environment for things of the random and wacky variety to happen. Antonio is cool, always making sure that things are getting done and always bringing an equally goofy mood as the two hosts. There were various other used cast members that made the show fun with different bits that they would be a part of, but then there's the specialty costume crew. There's Cal, who is played by a guy named Tom inside of a cow costume and would just be doing cow things. And why was this a character? Who honestly knows? Do I like that Cow is here? Yes. Cow makes me feel loved. Something you wouldn't know about. Sorry, that was a little harsh. Garbaggio was a great character as well. He would just come in and wrestle. No, not people, things. Just random things. I watched him lose to Santa's sneaky midnight snacks, okay? He was just an eccentric dude that amped up the energy of the show when he would appear. And obviously, there is someone that is very important who we haven't mentioned yet. Someone who has probably made this more memorable for you, and the sheer sight of him brings back so many memories if you were a Nickelodeon kid in the 2000s. Pick-Boy. This essentially became the superhero mascot for the network, not just the show. And yeah, the show also had a cow, and this became the mascot. The person who played the character is Jeff Sutphin, a segment producer for the show originally, but once he was pitched this superhero idea for the show, he essentially took up the mantle of the character and became synonymous with the show as a whole for its branding. And listen, there was no better feeling than the show you voted for actually winning and an episode of that show would start playing.
Right here, right now. It is not Yickety Yak.
It is not Yickety Yak or Yakety Yak. It's my
That's a great choice. Would have been happy with Chalk Zone as well, though. This was the whole bread and butter to get people involved with the show. But what else would you find to fill in all of the segments before and after these shows? Well, you would first have the host-style presentation with both Candace and Brent as if you were sitting in the live audience, hanging out in the New York Nickelodeon offices. If there was some sort of guest celebrity, they'd be introduced and take part in all the festivities for the day, which was cool to see them also participating in everything going on. Yes, that is Randy Jackson. No, Miss Briggs isn't allowed anywhere within 500 feet of him.
Would you like to see how toned my glutes are? Is there something you'd like to say to me?
What's going on? I'm sorry about that.
What's happening here, man?
We'll take care of it, Randy.
Okay, I feel better.
You would have a bunch of bits that would happen constantly, like Antonio bringing in the VHS of the winning cartoon pick in a really fun way, Pick-Boy running through things, and a pantsing controversy, but Nickelodeon would admit that. We would have different moments on the shows like the prize wall, where someone who was in the audience could pick one of the doors to open with various prizes inside, hence the name. There was 10 seconds with Brent, who would give us 10 seconds with Brent. There was Candace's Corner, where she would talk with viewers directly, and you could even tell these two what to go do outside in Times Square. That's why the New York vibes just hit so different here. Sometimes the show would be more than your regularly expected broadcast. Like when the Wild Thornberrys movie was coming out, they had a whole wild animal themed show set up as part of the promotion. It was stuff like this that make tuning in each day that much more exciting. It feels like now I tune into my favorite channels and streamers online to really scratch that itch, as I can leave a comment or talk in the chat to feel a part of the whole thing. Always something new every day with the people I enjoy seeing. Also, there was a Survivor-based episode with Jeff Probst himself hosting it, so that's pretty cool. It was only literally like the biggest show ever. Heck, it's still pretty popular. Should I make a 10+ hour video essay going through all 44 seasons of Survivor? I don't know. I might. That's the thing, I might do that. Don't tempt me, I'll do it. I'm doing it. Anyway, this programming block did a lot to have fun for its several-year run in the front half of the 2000s. So with how interactive and successful it was, what happened to it?
That is just absolutely not true, and I plan to prove it wrong.
Come on, double time.
Yeah, roll the clip.
It was really windy, though.
Gotta run this tape to the control room. Get you big live kicking off with the boom.
All good things come to an end, and of course, that means so did You Pick Live. After 401 episodes on May 27, 2005, the last broadcast would hit that Friday afternoon and would feature a nice look back at all the fun the crew had working on the show.
All right, we're gonna miss you guys. Have an awesome summer break.
Thank you for letting us hang out with you every day.
And it's been an amazing 401 episodes.
As well as a final goodbye before You Pick would no longer run between shows.
It's been an unbelievable 3 years, and from the bottom of our hearts,
Thank you.
Let's have everybody in a thank you to everybody.
Candace did not end up renewing her contract, which had already ran past its original ending date, while Brent still had another year on his contract beyond that point. Because of the chemistry between the hosts and the fact that they both together were the face of the show, Nickelodeon didn't see a future for this show without one of the main hosts no longer being there. This is all speculated to be the main reason for the production not to carry on. This iteration of the block gave the network 3 years of weird, zany, and fun breaks that guided you through an afternoon of shows that you were able to vote for as you got home from school, which was a place where you felt that you didn't have many choices and had to just listen to authority. You Pick Live gave you that choice. Your voice there mattered. Or maybe it really all wasn't that deep. But to a younger version of me, that's a lot of new responsibility that feels nice to have. Now I just pay taxes and my back is always hurting for some reason. Jeff would carry on to be a bit of an icon for the network, living beyond You Pick Live. Like I said, his Pick-Boy character is kind of a nostalgic realization that rips you right back in time. This character was so integral to the show, and it always felt nice seeing Pick-Boy appear outside of You Pick when it would come to other Nickelodeon events, coverage of sports, and more. Jeff also would stay in the wheelhouse of Nick, becoming the host of several game shows like Brain Surge, Family Brain Surge, and the newer version of my personal favorite Nickelodeon game show, specifically the original, Figure It Out. I did a whole video on that as well a while back, so check that thing out if you want to. But Jeff got to continue such a cool legacy that stemmed from one of the best afternoon programming blocks at the time. It's pretty funny when we look back on the things that we love that we often forget the other things surrounding them. While all of the cartoons and shows that would come on during this program block would all be super memorable and have their own level of nostalgia built in for you, it feels easy to forget the programming block itself. It wasn't just a few minutes of commercials and then back to the show. There was a fun cast of hosts that made you feel involved in the shows you're watching. I want to take some time this year to bring up some programming blocks like this, some really important ones to me especially, and look into them now with a new adult perspective. So if you like this video, I definitely would like to do more like this. Let me know some programming blocks that you fondly remember and which ones you think would be really cool for me to take a look back at here on the channel. Thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe. Later.
Cooties are alright. I don't know where this myth started. Cooties are okay. You heard it here first. Cooties are okay. We'll see you in a little bit.